There's a live bowl edition for the second year in a row. We have a bowl edition of Huskers Live. Will it go as well as last year? That's what we're here to talk about. That might be, we'll get into that. We'll dive it all into the nitty and gritty of the game. Preview that, give you our predictions, how everything's going to go. First off, Brian, how are you doing today, man?
I am doing good. How are you, sir?
Doing all right, man. You got any plans for the new year?
Just watch some football, I guess. We'll watch Nebraska's at 2:30. Then we get the first round of the quarterfinal, or the first quarterfinal game at 6:30, I believe, 7:30.
It's a good New Year's Eve. And then I get to protect my dogs from fireworks. So
nice.
They hate fireworks. Well, one of them, my German Shepherd, he tries to chase him around the sky and bark at him. My other one is scared of him. I don't know about the Chihuahua yet. She's only I got her 10 weeks old, so we'll find out real quick. But the Chihuahua energy doesn't leave me promised that she's not going to be deathly afraid of the fireworks. So
more than likely will be.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one. All right, let's go ahead and what's going on, Pitside? Appreciate you hopping in here. William hopping in here. Go Big Red. And we got a prediction already, 27-24. So if y'all are going to be in the chat, drop your predictions. We'll be running through them. I'm curious to hear how everybody thinks the game's going to go because, me and Brian are very optimistic about this one. But did you have a chance to listen to the coaches talk at all? Did you have a chance to listen to the kind of the players talk, kind of the vibes around this game?
From today, yeah, I watched that today. I thought it was pretty standard coach speak for the most part.
Yeah, it's kind of saying what they need to say up there, really more than anything. I think I learned more, about the Utah side. The coach just kind of over there seems like the coach they got over there seems like a really good guy. And I was kind of hoping Dan Pierre would opt out, not playing this game.
But. Well, the one question that I did like was the worst question of all. When that reporter asked Dan Pierre, have you thought about transferring? And it's like, yep, let me break the news right now.
Yeah, right now.
The night before the game, I'm transferring. Like, what a stupid question. You only get so many, that's the one you chose.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. I thought Nebraska had a good group of guys up there to represent, but old poor Matt Rule, man, he looks tired and worn down.
Yeah. By the way, one of the questions was talking about his comments about Vegas and hosting college sports. I missed what he said. So
apparently I did too.
Did you see that?
No, I just saw his response to. He's just saying he would like to apologize because before he had his coffee. But I didn't hear the actual quote of whatever he said. About it. So I'd be curious to. I think they alluded to it having to do something with maybe the location of where they were at prior and then having to fly. Did you get that? Because he was talking about them catering towards the Pac-12 teams with certain things.
Yeah, I thought that would be a very common point to make. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
They moved it from Indianapolis to Las Vegas. It's no different than when the Big 12 moved the meetings and the headquarters from Kansas City to Dallas. You could see what was happening. They were catering to Texas.
So it had something to do with that. And it's one of those things where it's probably he's apologizing for it, but he meant what he said because at the same time, I mean, he's let's just kind of juggle the back and forth, but that's part of kind of what their goal was, getting them in there was to try to cater them as much as possible. That's one of the things about getting them in the conference. So you got to make the new horses in town happy, I guess. Screw the old guys. Except for us. They didn't give a damn about us when we got here.
No, we got nothing.
We got absolutely nothing.
We just got screwed over by tons of terrible officiating calls.
Yeah. And it still continues to this day. Benadryl is your friend both for scared dogs and when your kids are a-holes. That is true. Can you give us a rundown on Utah's key opt-outs? So, yeah, we'll dive into that a little bit. Utah is missing some key offensive linemen. I think that's the biggest thing.
That's my note.
Yep. So if you have the opt-outs in front of you, do you want to go ahead and run down those? I think they have
I don't have their names, but I have positions.
I have a couple of their names here. I don't know if this is the most up-to-date, but Spencer Fano, Caleb Lomu are the two big offensive linemen that are out.
And then is one of those is the Outland Trophy winner, right? The tackle.
Yes, yeah.
I know he's out, and there's 1 or 2 starters out on the offensive
Spencer
line.
Fano. Let me see if I can find anybody else.
Does Fano have a brother on the team? Because they have a Fano with 4.5 sacks on the year.
Oh, do they? I don't know if he has a brother on the team.
I mean, it might be a common last name in that region.
Yeah. But as far as because I read somewhere earlier that 3 were out, but I only had 2 that were on my notes. So, oh yeah, there's a Spencer and a Logan Fano.
That makes sense. Yeah,
I don't know if they're brothers though.
So yeah, Spencer Fano on the offensive line, Caleb Lomu,
but there's a Spencer and a Logan.
John Henry Daly. That's a big one actually. Well, he was hurt anyways, and he just announced he's entering the portal. So, and then Logan Fano, their defensive line edge rusher. So their top 2 sack getters on the year are not playing. They're going to be missing 15 sacks between the 2 of them.
And Lomu and Spencer Fano both played over 800 snaps, so they're losing a lot of experience on that offensive line. So that is good news for Nebraska. Now the question becomes, so they are brothers. They are brothers.
Figure.
Question becomes, will it matter? And that's what we're going to dive into here. So I guess let's just start. You're kind of frozen on my screen, so I hope I'm good on yours. Let's just start I'm going to ask this overarching question, but do you think there's any position group where Nebraska has an advantage? Personally.
Man, I don't think so.
That was my thing. Because I'm trying to find a silver lining in this and trying to find a little bit of hope. But I'm like, I don't know if I can point to one group that I feel like we have the talent advantage on. And I think that's why it's so hard to get any kind of excitement about this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop.
The linebacker play is probably the one that's maybe they're slightly better at.
Yeah. You are frozen on my screen, by the way.
I'm frozen on my screen too.
Okay. Can you back out and come back in? Because it's tripping me out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And another thing that I have here, let me go ahead and I'll leave our names up there because he's about to pop back in. Okay. All right. We're good now.
I'm frozen.
Go ahead. All right. What were we saying?
I was just saying I'm not frozen now. That's weird.
Yeah. Now I'm echoing. Try it again. No, we're good. We're good. It started to for a second. All right. So here's another question I have. Because this is my curiosity going into this. Now, Nebraska, of course, with Jeep Wade. Did you get to listen to Jeep Wade's talk in the media?
I love Jeep Wade. I listened to him on Husker Sports Network and then his interview in Vegas, and it's hard not to like that guy.
Very hard not to, because he is your prototypical football guy. Like he is. Yeah. If you think of what an O-line coach looks and talks like in his demeanor, like that's him, like to a T. One of the things that, and they did talk about this, and Dana Holgorsen alluded to the fact that, like, hey, they're going to talk scheme, later on in the coming months, which leads me to believe, of course, they're not going to be changing a whole lot on the offensive line. Maybe a couple little tweaks of things here and there. So we probably won't expect too much of a big jump, in the offensive line in the bowl game, that type of thing. A question becomes, because we have a team that Nebraska is going against that has a really, really good pass rush, right? And Dana Holgorsen alluded to they play a lot of man coverage too, which gives you opportunities to run your quarterback. And Nebraska does have a mobile quarterback. Question being, though, with the quarterback room the way it is, and TJ Lateef being your potential future QB1 for next season, like, do you run the risk of getting out there and running him around?
Well, you still have Jalen Gramstad for this game, and technically still have Marcos Davia for this game. Technically.
Right. You do.
I think you play to win because you've got till August to get healthy if it was something bad. Plus, we know they're bringing in a portal QBs no matter what.
Yeah.
So I don't see why you wouldn't run him, because you have to play to win the game. You can't try and
I was
scheme your way out of it.
I was curious if they were going to try, because some teams will play it safe like that, but I was wondering if there was a potential that they kind of like restrict his running for that reason, just because. And then you run the risk of, if you get your quarterback hurt, well, then quarterbacks know, like, y'all need me. This isn't, I'm coming in for a competition. They can use that as leverage, as a point of leverage in the portal too, because they're like, you don't have a quarterback otherwise.
I think they're going to play it safe with him because he's not healthy.
Right.
I don't think his hamstring is 100%. They just said they didn't let him go full speed until they got to Nevada. And a hamstring, like Quentin Ives is like the perfect example of how much that injury can linger, because he heard it day one of fall camp.
They always linger. Soft tissue injuries are the worst.
And you never saw him the entire year outside of the game against HCU, and then he re-pulled it again, and he didn't play the rest of the year. That's why I don't think he's even 70, 80% maybe at best. You're not going to run him, but you have to almost.
Yeah, you have no choice. We have to pull all the stops out to be able to win this game. And then, with soft tissue injuries too, like, it's hard to like find that ramp up period. It's hard to like really test it, because like, if you test it, like, there's no testing it really, because like, if it's not ready, you're just going to re-pull it. So it's like they're testing it is literally just like, okay, like, we gotta hope it's like, it's feeling better at 80%. We gotta hope when you go 100% that it's okay. But there's no other way to test it outside of just getting out there and seeing if it pulls again. That's the tough part about hamstrings that makes them so difficult. There's just no way to know.
And the worst part about it is he's your most experienced quarterback in that room.
Yeah. Now let's transition. Another thing too, because let's talk about the man coverage thing a little bit too. Do you I expect probably them to try to run him, just because, with man coverage, you're going to get a lot of more backs, the defensive backs back to the quarterback a little bit more. We saw how that played out in a lot of games for us this year, whenever running quarterbacks were going against us, and they'd run us off the ball. So I think that's another reason right there that they're probably going to be able to run him a little bit. But concept wise, like, this has to be just quick hitters out of his hand. Like, we have to, I think we're going to see a lot of bunch, because bunch is going to do a lot to beat man. I think we're going to see a lot of, hopefully, some quick pick plays, some drag routes, stuff like that. But I do think that they'll be running him a pretty good bit, just to kind of be able to make sure, even if you can get them to occupy, an extra defender out there. Because looking at their numbers, just to compare, just to give you a comparison of just how like their pass rush is versus Nebraska's. So,
it's crazy.
They have
31 sacks this year.
37 according to, or 32 according to PFF. Oh, no.
Okay.
37 according to PFF.
Okay, I'm on ESPN for reference.
Let me see. Hold on. Let me make sure my eyes are lining up right. Yeah, 37, and then see 32 hits on the quarterback, 164 hurries. Okay. So let's compare that to Nebraska. Nebraska had 19 sacks, 19 sacks, 18 hits, and 95 hurries. That's about cut half of everything that they got. And not a single.
Us.
Go ahead.
I would say what benefits us is their top two guys are out. And after them, there is quite the drop off statistically.
Is that due to lack of playing time, though, or is that due to, because if we let's look at their snap counts, because the top two guys, what you got, the John Henry Daly guy who's snapped 293% or 293 for pass was 280 for on pass rush snap. Let's see.
So the next guy you'd want to look at is Cash Dillon. He's their third in sacks, and he's a freshman at 3.5 sacks.
Yep. They get a lot of their linebackers. Pass rush win rate is really high too. So Cash Dillon, you said?
Jonathan Hall is really good. Cash Dillon, he'll probably be the main guy at defensive end for him tomorrow.
Yeah, so he's got 4 sacks. And a 6.3% win rate. So yeah, it's a little bit of a drop off there too. So opportunities there for Nebraska, but I think the biggest thing with Nebraska is you're just going to. I know with Emmett Johnson being out, it's going to be a really tough sledding running the ball, but that's the only way. Like you're going to have to find success running the ball with your running backs to have any chance of this game to put their kind of their defensive line on their heels a little bit. Do you have any confidence? I have confidence in the talent of this running back room, but what are your thoughts on what we're going to see out of them?
Well, one of my keys was establish the run early and often, even if there's not early success, because you just have to keep hammering it away, keep wearing them down. I don't know how much I trust our receivers to beat man on man, because like you talked about, Utah's going to run a lot of man on you. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, this year we've seen that a handful of times, more than a handful. And really, Dane Key was the only one that was remotely consistent in beating man coverage. And sometimes it was just a better throw versus the coverage, and it was great coverage and just a dang good throw by Dylan. So if we're going to run these, if we're going to be able to win this game, it has to be running between the tackles. They're going to try and probably bounce it outside, just because I think it's a natural instinct of a younger running back, with both of the primary guys being freshmen and redshirt freshmen, but just hammering it between the tackles 3 or 4 yards at a time, and just keep doing it over and over and over again. And it's not going to be a fun game. It's not going to be a pretty game. But if you can win the time of possession battle, think back to the K-State game. Granted, that was a shootout. K-State controlled the clock. Even when Utah played KU, KU sucks, and everyone knows that. But the reason why KU was able to make that a game is they controlled the clock. They hit the ball for almost 40 minutes in that game. And that keeps Utah's offense off the field, which we know is prolific. They're one of the best offenses in the entire country. I mean, they average 270 yards rushing a game. They average over 6 yards per carry. They rush for over 3,000 yards as a team. So run it and just don't stop running it. And when you need to pass, it's got to be quick reads, 1-2 reads, and let TJ take off. Very similar to the UCLA game plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing, looking at kind of Nebraska's running back room, I think kind of like he alluded to, like you just have to find somebody who can come in and give you a spark. I don't know if a committee approach is necessarily going to work. Like somebody's got to come out and get the hot hand, because I don't like committee approach in a game like this. Like I think we'll get just with the way Mekhi runs, I think we're going to get probably a pretty good game from him, just because he's a hard-nosed runner. Like he's going to go out there and give his all 100% on every play. And he just runs super hard. But I think we will. I think somebody will kind of establish himself, kind of come out of this room. But like you, I have a hard time believing that we're going to be able to create separation, because that's something we've struggled with all season. Yeah. And it's something we struggled with last season. It shouldn't be that way, just because of the talent that we do have. And then at the same time, you're running route concepts that you need to be kind of, Dane Key's really good, right off the break, not getting jammed at the top of the route, being good with his hands, good with his leverage and stuff like that. But a lot of these other guys are not as polished with that route running, and we don't have a lot of kind of, we're not going to have a lot of time to let these route concepts develop, where we're trying to free guys up and stuff like that. And I think that's where my biggest concern comes from offensively, is like they're going to have to be able to separate at the top of their routes and be able to let TJ hit them with timing throws and windows and stuff like that. And I don't know if we got that capability. I just don't think our receiver core is strong enough. And I really do like our receivers. They haven't shown the ability to create separation against lesser defenses, let alone Utah's defense.
Do you think we have any new wrinkles on offense, like just play-wise, that we haven't seen? Because this would be a game where I think you can get Ja'Cory involved through reverses or through jet sweeps, or maybe even if you just have him on some pick routes where you can get him free for a quick out and get 3-4 yards, and maybe he makes a guy miss, because how wiggly he is, and how he can make guys miss real quickly, and kind of be in a phone booth. And is that something that we can do to get him involved? Because it seems like he's disappeared for 6 weeks now, for the last 6 games.
I think the this is the game where we're going to see everything pulled out. And I think this is the game where you're going to see as many people as involved as possible. On both sides of the ball. But I think you just have to, like, not only with the running back room, I just think in general with the entirety of the team, like, you have to find a hot hand and you have to
Mhm.
try different things because when you're this big of an underdog, and like I said, like sometimes you'll maybe have an advantage here or there, and you can be like, let's lean on this. But Nebraska doesn't really have an advantage anywhere um, that they can kind of
Mhm.
lean on and be like, we're going to go with this and you have to stop this. We know this is, that type of thing. Penn State running the ball against, um, so I think they're going to have no choice but to try out a bunch of different things, get the ball in as many people's hands as possible. Like this is one of those games where it's like those high percentage plays that we run, because they're safe, like we need to run everything. The players, the plays that are boom or bust, like we have to run those because we're going to have to hit on a couple of explosive plays or a couple of boom plays that we have not had all season. Like we just have not had the ability to score. I feel like for explosive plays outside of Emmett Johnson,
Yeah, no kidding.
somebody's going to have to be able to do that. And so they're going to have to pull out all the stops because if you're looking at probably what plays were successful in practice, I wonder how many of those involved Emmett Johnson. You know what I'm saying? And so there's going to be it's just everything's so new now. It's like we're going to be it's almost like that spring game or first week of the season where you're just trying things out and then kind of figuring out your identity. This is a team that hasn't had an identity outside of Emmett Johnson all season. So, yeah, they're gonna have to mix it up and throw a bunch of wrinkles in there.
What I do think they could do a lot is two back sets. You could have Mackay, TJ, and Mosey split. They've run those, I guess, those plays a handful of times, and usually I believe it's Mosey that sprints out wide. Basically, it's like a swing pass, and then it's like either a handoff. It's like an RPO. It's either a handoff to Mackay or you throw it out wide to Mosey on a swing pass. I'd like to see them run those plays, run those, not that play, but those formations, and see what kind of wrinkles you can get off of it. You can have both those guys carry it. You can have both those guys go out on routes. You could motion one guy into a slot. Maybe you get a mismatch if you see a linebacker and you want to get Mosey, for example, matched up on a linebacker. I'd like to see them try and do something to use their skill sets completely to the max,
Mhm.
especially as pass catchers. I mean, I know you have to run the ball a lot, but you can really play off of your run with them as well. Get short pass plays that are basically an extension of the run game.
Yeah, kind of like and they talked about this a little bit where it's like those plays are going to contribute to kind of this tempo that they want to run as well. Um, But I think the biggest thing that we're gonna have to do is really just find out our advantage point. I talk about how Kirk Shiroka does this a lot at Rutgers, and this is kind of why he's able to kind of do more with less with talent. He's just really good at like knowing the defensive setup and getting more numbers to that side. It's not, that Rutgers is a team that's
Yeah.
consistently out talented, but they're like, okay, like you have more talent one on one. So we're going to get an extra guy that direction that you don't know about. We're going to sneak an extra guy, out that way. And that's kind of how Nebraska is going to have to be with their play calling. It's going to be, they're going to have to, set things up. So, they're going to have to come out and, run, they run a lot of mesh. They're going to have to run a lot of mesh out of bunch. You're going to have to run your quick slants, your flats, but then you're also going to have to find ways to kind of, um, find out what they're doing and then kind of sneak guys over, kind of like they did against UCLA early in that game, where they kind of snuck a
Mhm.
guy out in that flat. And by the time, so I think we're going to see a lot of that, where it's just coming. We're just going to see a lot of kind of deception and trying to figure out what we're going to run. But I think it's going to be set up over time. I think Holgerson's kind of will it be successful? That's the problem, because the issue is, will the setups work? And that's wherein lies the problem, because I think Holgerson can come up with a really good game plan in terms of that, because he's really good with deceptive concepts. Um, but the problem is, most of the season, the setups to get those things prepared haven't worked. And that's where Nebraska's really kind of just stalled out. And that's where we have had just like a playmaker to go to. Like they got a Dampier over there, they got a guy that they can just go out there and make plays. And that, like, when the concepts fit,
it's good.
That's what Nebraska doesn't have. Like we don't have, like, we are so reliant on the concepts to work. And that's been the biggest Achilles heel for this team this year. And I just think Utah is so fundamentally sound and well coached that it's going to be hard to just get them. You're going to have to make them miss assignments. You're going to have to force them off of a spot. You're going to have to make them cover grass. But like, they're so well coached. That's where the issue is going to come into play. It's like, how are you going to? And this is where we're going to see, what Holgerson's made of. Because if he can somehow pull out some offensive performance where we score 28 with this offense, it's going to
be a miracle.
It's going to be crazy. Going to be crazy.
I remember watching that K-State game with Utah, and K-State was running all over the field. They had like 300 yards rushing, almost 6 yards per carry in that game. And that actually is a very similar offense to what I foresee Nebraska kind of turning into as they go and find their mobile quarterback. But hopefully, ideally, TJ or whoever is a better thrower than Avery Johnson. But it's a very similar offense as to what I think we're getting ready to shift to.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think we're going to see from them offensively? You think it's just going to kind of be a steady dose of just running the ball, do what they do well?
I think what they're going to do is, well, we need to figure out if their offensive coordinator stayed or not. There's not been confirmation, has there, that he's staying? Or is he going to Michigan?
Well, I know. Well, no, because I know. Scaly's calling the defensive plays.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, and they said in the press conference that he's had talks with him about going to Michigan, so he's there today.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
It's the defense.
So, yeah, I would imagine that it's going to be very run based, but I think they're going to watch that UCLA tape and see, okay, every time they're in man coverage, we're just going to tuck it and run. I mean, maybe not every time, but if we call a pass play, it's man coverage, and if you don't see anybody open, tuck it and run, because they are completely inept at stopping the QB run game, especially when their backs are to the ball, which is not like a hard concept to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the problem they're gonna cause. They're gonna try their best to make, like, Nebraska's struggled this year a lot with discipline on the edges. We've talked about that time and time again, because we get a quarterback, pressure on him, we can't contain him. Our fits from now, our run fits from the linebackers last year were night and day better than this year. So I don't know what happened with our linebacker run fits, but they're going to test that. And then our secondary being able to step down, our safeties, because our safeties have not. That's the problem, is when we're running match or man or something like that, like, our safeties aren't stepping down and getting to where they need to be in run support. That is the problem of this team, because they're a team that's going to challenge all of the, like, they're gonna make Nebraska's linebackers be on their heels with their designed quarterback runs. They're gonna force safeties and then try to beat them over the top. Hit play action, beyond it. It's going to be such a hard game to scheme for defensively. Do you think? I'm going to ask you this question, then come back in, because we got to echo. But do you think our defense is up for the challenge under the new?
Well, it's hard to say. I think they've done the right thing by keeping it simple, getting aligned correctly prior to the snap. I think that's going to help. I think they're being they're playing babe in the woods, I guess, with what they're going to do with the 4-man front. I think they're going full 4-man front right now. I think they've already started that transition, not only because RVP got his black shirt, which would be the 4th defensive lineman, but also you're playing a team that is very run focused. They're going to run it 65, 70% of the time against you. You have to have more than likely at least 4 down linemen to handle that. But I still don't think we're entirely up to it. I just haven't seen enough. I rewatched the UCLA game last night with my dad, and I just noticed really weird things with the defensive line, just that made me wonder if they knew at all what the hell they were supposed to be doing. on the front four, or the front three, I guess, technically speaking. But maybe it's a schematic change helps. Maybe getting 4 down, and so you don't have RVP playing, a 0 tech, and he's probably more of a 3 tech. That probably is what's better for him anyways, because he's 6'5", 290 pounds. But this is going to be a brutal test for Nebraska. I mean, their quarterback has 700 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. Their starting running back has 1,000 yards rushing. Their second string running back has 400 yards rushing. It's not just a 1 or 2 headed monster. It is 3 guys that are going to be carrying it 35, 40 times against you for 60 minutes straight and dare you to stop them. And I'll back out real quick.
Yeah, back out, come back in. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. They're going to stress Nebraska's eyes like crazy. Let's see. Illinois pounded the rock down in the field. Nebraska 24, Utah 14. Yeah, if y'all got those predictions, get them in here. Illinois 17, Tennessee 14. It's 24-14 Illini now. Confused by the last point about Holgerson. I don't know which one you're talking about.
Drop it in the comments.
Yeah, let me know what you're talking about. The ref was the only thing slowing down Illinois in that drive. I'm not watching. Jason Beck, Utah OCs, Ann Arbor won't be coaching the bowl game. Whoops, belay my last. Beck is with Utah. All right. Well, he fact-checked himself pretty quick. P.S. One of San Diego State's starting safeties just entered the portal.
Well, so did their starting linebacker, who's a freak, Chambliss, and their starting defensive end, who had 7 sacks this year.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Realistically, what Nebraska can fix in this short amount of time with the coach is a couple of those things we mentioned, like just ensuring that like you are in the right spot on a certain play, ensuring that you get your run fit. It's going to test your eyes. Now you can't improve somebody's eyes that quick, if they're whatever. But I think I think we'll see a small improvement. I think we may be able to come out maybe early on. Like I said, I think we'll may be able to come out and just kind of similar to the Oklahoma game, like when we fired Chinander and early on in that game for like the first couple drives, like the defense was fitting their gaps and doing the opposite of what they've done all season. And then the talent gap kind of took over and we got blown out.
Yeah.
But I think we could see something like that where they're kind of just playing up to it. And I think they're just going to kind of come out fired up and be able to kind of remember those assignments kind of early on. But I think as the game goes along, I think they're going to kind of revert back to the ways they're coached. When they start kind of messing with them and trying to intentionally move their eyes. So I think we can see success early. Like I think we might be able to keep this game, maybe keep them off the board in this quarter. First, I don't know if I can say keep them up.
I'm thinking first half it might be competitive. You're kind of feeling each other out. Two teams run the ball a lot.
Stay in the game for the first half. I think maybe try to hold them to a touchdown in the first quarter. I think we can do something like that. And then I think that's where the coaching and the talent advantage is going to take hold. But I really do think the defensive coordinator switch is going to be good because I think this is a game more than ever where we just kind of need to really get in those 4-man fronts and is this one of those games, do you think, where you just kind of sell out to stop the run and put your DBs kind of on an island back there? And
I'm glad you asked that because I was going to ask you how much does Deshaun Singleton not being there impact the defense? Because I look at him as kind of an eraser where it seemed like at times he was freelancing and just making plays, being around the ball, sure tackler. With Justin Rhett in that position now, who's not played much because of apparent injuries early in the year, I feel like it's going to be a weak point in Nebraska's defense that's actually going to do the opposite, where they're going to probably play more coverages to help Justin in pass pro because of his inexperience. He's one of the most talented guys in that room, probably, in my opinion, but he's coming off injury, hasn't played a ton. So I was thinking maybe they do more zone on the back end to kind of help him until he gets settled in.
I think it's possible because I do think he has the potential to go out there and make plays. Of course, like you talked about, talent, the upside's there. But of course, he's going to be one of those guys that makes a lot of mistakes. And like when you put a guy on an island like that, he can't make a mistake because mistake's a touchdown.
He's getting a deep third.
Yeah, exactly. And so I do think it's one of those things where I think we're going to see a more of a zone approach, and maybe just kind of more help defense for him. But I do think there's going to be opportunities where it's one of those things where they talked about, what was the quote that they said? I thought I typed it somewhere. Um, Standards over feelings, right? Like
Yeah.
where I liked that line, but I think it's one of those things where it's just like they're going to have to go out there and like execute. Like we're not always going to have a guy that's going to be able to there to be on that side to protect you. We're not going to be able to stay in zone to protect you the whole time. Like you're going to have to prove your worth on this team. You're going to have to go out there and make plays. Like I do think there's going to be that side of it too, where it's like you're talented. Go out there and make plays. Like believe in yourself to make those plays. So I do think there's going to be opportunities there, and maybe they'll give it a feel out period. Maybe if he comes out and doesn't have success, maybe if they kind of put him in certain situations early on in the game and doesn't have success, then it's like, okay, like now we'll adjust, we'll amend to that. But I think you got to give a shot at whatever concept you want to run to best counter Utah and give an opportunity to go out and make plays. And if he does, stick with it until he needs the support and needs the help. Because again, it's one of those best things. We got to come out with our best game plans, our best packages, both offensively and defensively, and hope. And then we can adjust it, like I said, adjust if necessary from there. But we got to throw everything at the wall here.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do with this jack linebacker position with primarily 4 down linemen now. Does that position this game and going forward effectively get eliminated? Because we know McCullough is not playing.
Unfortunately.
There's questions of whether or not McGahee is going to be on the team here come January 2nd. Jordan Ochoa, despite being second on the depth chart the entirety of the year, did not play. And Dylan Rogers, who's probably a better fit at middle linebacker, moved to jack. So you're really on your 4th string jack linebacker. What is their role in this game? Can you maybe effectively have it be a 5-down line where you have your DNs, 2 tackles, and that jack linebacker is going to be bouncing between pass coverage and run rush defense, because you're going to have to set the edge. And Nebraska, as you mentioned, the entirety of the year has been terrible at setting the edge. Does adding a 5th guy on that line help maybe set that edge on at least one side? I don't know.
I think, yeah, it does help. It does help for sure. The question becomes how, because what's also going to matter is how they disguise that guy, that extra guy, or how they're going to utilize that 5th body on the line. Because at the same time too, you're going to have to mix it up, or else they're just going to, I think for Nebraska, what the biggest thing is going to be is like, you're going to have a lot of movement on the defensive side of the ball. So like, I think we're going to need, I don't think we can sit with, 1 4-man front or, lined up nose to nose. Like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, we're going to need to kind of go a little bit back to rotating bodies, right? And just constantly mixing it up defensively, because Utah is the team. And I watched through, some of their other games over the last like week or so, but they're a team that if you kind of do the same thing over and over, they are going to exploit you. Like if you come out with the same concept. So like, no matter what we do, we're going to have to switch that up. I don't think we can stay in a 4-man front the whole time. I think we're going to have to see a little bit of old and new concepts. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like you might have to sacrifice, an extra guy on that line of scrimmage to kind of be able to help contain that edge if that becomes a problem. Like I think at that point, that 5th body, like utilize him over the course of the game to whatever they're exploiting. But I think early on, like he's just got to have a multiplicity of jobs. And I think we need to see a lot of movement from this line, like a lot of twists. I just think we need to mix it up with the pressures. Like, I just think we need to throw everything in the kitchen sink and can't have this risk of like giving up a big play. I think it's one of the things we're going to have to pin our ears back and go after them. And
one thing I'd like to see them do is just be creative with their blitzes for the first time all year.
That has been a problem. Yes.
Like it's just been very vanilla. It's usually a corner or safety blitz. It's usually rather predictable. I would like to see them do something unique, something different that me, Joe Blow, who has very minimal X's and O's knowledge, can be looking at my TV and go, well, Donovan Jones is blitzing here. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's kind of like, we had this issue, I don't know if it was the Frost era where it's like we'd bring blitzes and they'd get there, but they'd always get there like a half step late. And like
Yeah.
now we just don't bring enough creative blitzes so they all get picked up, you know. Um
Mhm.
so I think it's one of those things where I think like we're going to probably I think it's going to be kind of a calculated aggression. Where I think we might come out early and blitz, and then kind of towards the back end of the game, maybe start kind of showing those same looks if we have success, showing those same looks, and then kind of backing those out in
Yeah.
coverage. Yeah. Um, or let's say they come out
Or
and
the
they
opposite.
yeah, or let's say they come out and they gotta, because that's my way. I think it might be just because the game script could be them getting a lead too. Um, but yeah, so I think it's one of those things where it's just like but whatever you do, yeah, you're gonna have to switch it up. But I think what we really need to do is we need to kind of move a lot of guys around in the box and like have those guys that are kind of moving along that second level, those be the guys that are blitzing. And then have your guys up front, like I said, be able to run kind of their stunts. And then when you bring the stunts off of that and then the other guys drop back into coverage, like then you kind of confuse them up a little bit. And you have leave the potential that your twist, your stunts up front will get home. The problem is Nebraska just doesn't have a lot of guys who are able to get off their blocks on the front four. If we just had
Yeah.
one guy who was able to kind of get off a block when on the pass rush, it would free up so much more for us to do defensively. And so yeah, I think I think this defensive scheme is going to just be um something we haven't seen before because it has no choice but to be. But I think they're going to play a lot of things safe in the second half. I think the aggression that we're going to have is kind of early on in this game, maybe trying to catch them off guard.
That would be my big expectation, was very similar to last year's bowl game where you come out uber aggressive, you're blitzing. I remember the first defensive snap of the game, they sent Shavers on a blitz up the gut, and he lit the running back up, and that set the tone for the rest of the game.
Yep.
I would like to see that from V9 this weekend, or I guess it's not the weekend, but you get my drift.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. You got to come out and set the tone and like understand that like we're the underdog. You got to punch them in the mouth first.
And they said like in their press conference today, like, we know everyone doesn't expect us, to win, but we expect us to win. Then go play like that. Go play free. That's actually like one of my keys for the game. Play free. Play like you have nothing to lose, because you don't have anything to lose. Go out and be free.
You're 14
Light it up.
14-point underdog. And
Yeah.
the spread has been high as like 16.5, I think.
It's 16.5. Yep.
And like a lot of these guys are playing for potential roles in this team next year, right? And kind of like we talked about with Vincent Shavers freshman season, coming out there and like playing fast and playing hard. And even if you don't make certain plays, like you're going to accidentally make plays if you play fast and play hard and just play. As soon as you start thinking you're half step late, you're always going to be a half step late and you're not going to make the play. Like if you maybe are out of position on 2 or 3 plays because you're playing fast, like, but you're going to make 5 plays off that, and then they're going to see that on the film. The guys who play hard are going to be the guys that earn their keep on this team. We've seen that with Rule, but I think that's the thing is these guys that are underclassmen and don't get a lot of playing time, they got to work their way into it.
That's what made Levante so good early in his career, where he didn't know the defense, but he just went out, see ball, get ball. And then they were pretty open about, if I recall, Bo Pelini even said he doesn't really play the defense. He just plays because he's too athletic, too good to keep off the field. And when he makes a mistake at 100 miles an hour, it's usually not a huge deal.
Yep. Who do you think, let me ask you this, who do you think is going to have to step up the most on that side of the ball? Or can you think of anybody?
The most? I think RVP.
I was going to say it's got to be for the line. Yeah.
I think when you look back to his first season, his freshman year, he always usually played like run heavy teams, heavy sets, goal line, 4th and short, 3rd and short situations, but he was very good in those situations as a true freshman. Then he redshirted, plays this year in a called rotational role, technically not a starter, but was playing 20, 25, 30 snaps a game. And I just never saw the player this season that we saw his freshman year.
Right.
And I think part of that, a small part of that, is they put 30 pounds or 20 pounds on him between freshman year and now, where he was playing at 275. Now he's playing at 295. But also because their lack of size inside, where they don't have a Nash, they're now putting him in that role. And I think he's not a zero. Like he does not do good lined up over the center. He does a better job. In fact, I was while rewatching that UCLA game, there was a play where he blew it up on 4th and short. And I believe 4th and short, 3rd and short, whatever it was. And it was him playing on the outside shoulder of the offensive guard. And he had a quick first step, a good swim move, blew the play up. And that's where he, I think, needs to be. So if he can be playing that position going forward tomorrow, take advantage of the lack of experience on that offensive line on Utah, while they'll still be pretty darn good, it'd be very nice to have a guy like that take over a game.
Yeah, agree. Offensive side of the ball. If you had to pick somebody who's going to kind of step up, I'm going to say Mekhi.
Okay. I was actually going to say Tyler Kanak.
I like
because
that.
You're missing Rocco, and they ran over Rocco a lot.
Yeah. I think.
By the way, Turner's our right tackle still, right? He plays.
Yeah.
He's playing.
Yeah.
So I'll go with either of those two. Honestly.
Yep.
I mean, if we wait till 5.5 or basically almost 6 years into Turner's career to get his best game, and it's this game, I'd be happy with that.
I'd be cool with that. We'll take it. All right. So before we move on to predictions, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
I'll just go over my keys, and then you can give me your opinions on my keys for the game. So on offense, I got 3 keys. On defense, I got 3 keys. We've kind of already talked about them already. So, but the number 1 key is controlling the ball, sustain drives / eat clock / keep Utah's offense off the field. If Nebraska even just plays the field position battle, in my opinion, very much like Iowa, where they may take 5 minutes off the clock and get 10 yards, 15 yards, but then they bomb it the other direction and you're starting at your 10, 15-yard line, that'll help your defense out a lot. Burns clock, keeps Utah off the field, and you give them crappy field position to start. In fact, think back to that Iowa game and how terrible our field position was compared to theirs.
Yeah.
Number 2, establish the run early, often, even if not early success. We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3rd is QB run game. I don't think it's a game where you have to script out 10 carries for TJ. If you have 3, 4 design runs and 3 or 4 scrambles, and it doesn't have to be TJ against UCLA. It doesn't have to be TJ against Houston Christian. They can be just kind of gimpy 5-7 yards at a time, just enough to move the pocket, keep those chains moving. They'll have to account for him in the run game, which is something we've been basically begging for years. Defensively, keys, containing the edge, stay home on the QB scrambles, play free, baby.
Yeah. I if I had to pick an offensive one, well, I think my offensive defense one would be the same. This is a game that you have to win on 3rd down. Any games where you're going against a running team, they're going to want to get to 3rd down and extend drives and just make your defense stay out on the field. And so you have to win 3rd downs in this game. And I think that's if Nebraska doesn't win 3rd down in this game, they're losing pretty badly. So 3rd down and just keeping them in situations where it's 2nd and 3rd and long, just put them in long situations to where that way, they have to throw it a little bit more, forcing them into situations where they're passing, obvious passing situations, because with as balanced as they are, 1st down is going to be so difficult for us trying to figure out what they're going to be doing, because they can run it, they can throw it. equally as well. So now let's go ahead and let's dive over into predictions. What's your game script? How does it play out? What's your prediction?
Well, I think Nebraska comes out fiery. I think they get an early lead. Thinking 7-0, maybe, like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And I think by the middle end of the second quarter, that's when the talent gap starts to show. I think by the end of it, you're looking at 31-17 Utah, 34-17 Utah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I agree with the fact that I think Nebraska comes out a little fiery. Yeah, I think we maybe come out, maybe get the ball first, score 3-0, maybe put a field goal on the board, maybe put a touchdown on the board. I think after the scripted drive, it's going to be tough sledding.
Yeah.
And then I think we can hold them to no points or a touchdown early in this game. Yeah, third quarter they start to take over. I think the second quarter we start to see leaks, and then third,
like the Indiana game last year.
Yeah, in third and fourth quarter, I think they kind of take over. I'm gonna say, man, what was your score? 31-17?
Yeah, I'll rock with that.
Oh, man. I'm gonna say 34-20. I think 34-20. So that's right at the spread too, I think.
14.5. So yeah.
Yeah. So 34-20 is my prediction. It's gonna be a tough one. But I hope we're wrong, dude. I hope we get put on some kind of compilation that the media team posts. I hope we win this game, because this
I wouldn't be mad about that. That's free publicity.
Think about how crazy it would be. Of all of look, we're both negative. Here we go. If we predict a win, we're too positive. Maybe we're negative. Well, go fuck yourself. I didn't.
Right. I should believe that we're going to stop the number one rushing offense in the country after we didn't do that for the last 12 games.
Look at these. Look at these guys, bro. Go watch a different show. I don't care. If you're not here to hear a realistic opinion, then go watch a different show. I don't give a damn. Anyways, how crazy would it be, of all the opportunities Nebraska's had to win a ranked team, to beat a ranked team, home games and stuff like that, if they come out and it's the game that you least expect them, and they finally pull out a win against the ranked team and just shut all of us up.
I will admit there will be the people that have a counter argument and say, well, they're missing 3 starters on the O-line. They're missing 2 defensive end starters. They're missing this and they're missing that. Their coach just left. Their offensive coordinator's leaving. It's still a good win.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, guys. A little too hard in the paint. I wasn't that mad.
I didn't even think that was that harsh.
I didn't either. I didn't think I went that crazy.
Why their panties are in a bunch.
I've gone way worse than that. Oh, it's because I said the F word. Oh, I didn't realize it. Pitt, you were in the Navy, bro, and you're offended by the F-bomb? Come on now. Let's relax. All right. Broke Matt rule. Yeah, see. I don't know what that means. Justin told us to F off. I said it was though. I just don't think they would be as good without their head coach. The problem is, without their head coach, they're still that coached team. They're not going to lose everything. It's like even year one into the next coach, like everybody's like, yeah, but he took, whenever John Gruden made it with, who was it? Did he go, was it Tampa or Oakland? Can't remember.
Oakland and Tampa, I think.
And then, but they were like, yeah, they made it with, because they were coached by him or whatever. That whole story, because he was the previous coach there, right? Then they made this the next year, but they're like, yeah, but it was his coach team. They're going to fall, and they fell off after that. They're still going to have, it's one of those things. They're still going to have the same principles in coaching. They're not going to lose that in a few weeks.
There is a great example of this.
Go ahead.
Michigan is a great example of, they played 4 games in the last 2 years with interim head coaches, and they went 4-0.
Yeah. Because
the culture doesn't leave with the coach. It's still there.
Exactly. Yeah. But I do get your point. And I hope we're wrong. I hope y'all can come back and laugh at us and just be like, y'all were both negative. Y'all told us. So I said, I hope we get memed out of this. Now you're getting over the top. Illinois 27, Tennessee 21. Cheat. Are we going to cheat? Or do you want us to cheat?
Oh man, I mean,
Vegas, bro.
There's no punishments for cheating, so
it's not the mafia in Vegas anymore. Let's go ahead, baby.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else before we go ahead and head out, guys? For those of you that I told F off, I didn't mean it. Okay, I didn't mean it, guys. I promise. Just hope to see some good fight for Nebraska. All I care about, honestly. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Like you said, no expectations. Go out there with no fear of failure. Play hard. Play fast. He's always said that.
I am negative because I know what good football looks like, and I haven't seen it in 3 years.
Well, it's okay though. Like, let's just come out and win 38-0, and y'all can come back here and bring all your friends and like laugh at us. And dude, I will be so happy to have y'all laugh at us. Okay, I want y'all to come in and call me dumb and tell me to F off. Bro.
You know what's funny is earlier in the year we were told we were being like homers.
Yeah, no, this is the trajectory of the channel. Anytime like I'm on Nebraska side, I'm too positive in the comments. Anytime, so I just learned to kind of roll with the punches. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but if we predict a win, everybody's gonna be like, these homers. How are you predicting a win against Utah?
No, not 3 years. I mean, specifically under Coach Rule, I have not seen good football. But
yeah,
last time I saw good football was 1998. If I was even really watching it then.
You were born then? Pitt Snipe said, man, I can't even venture a guess at how this game would go. I think this is the hardest thing, is like there's so many moving parts, so many players out, coaching changes. Like this is one of the harder games to pick in a long time.
Yeah, it is.
It's very difficult to kind of figure out how this game script's going to go. It's just in my mind, I can't will myself to, which maybe is a good thing because I've like willed myself to pick Nebraska in almost every game I felt like this season. I can't do that. So maybe that's a good sign. Maybe that means we'll come out with a win.
Well, to be fair, I think this game is not only hard to predict because of the situation at Utah, but our own situation here. Like, we don't know really what they've changed defensively. We don't really know what they've changed offensively. We don't even know what we're getting from our starting quarterback, who damn near blew his hand or tore his hamstring on what day was that game? Probably a month ago, almost to the day.
Almost a month, yeah. So,
and his backup is an NAIA player who hasn't played D1 football since coming here, and his backup is leaving on January 2nd. So,
let's go. It's promising.
Thank you.
Tell me there's a chance.
There's always a chance. I would rather pick us to lose and Nebraska comes out and just beats the brakes off of Utah. That would make me happy.
Yeah.
And I would love for everyone to be like, "Oh, you're an idiot. You picked them to lose and they won."
Idiot,
I'd be like, please, I'm not sad about it.
Bring it. Call me an idiot. Some people can't tell the difference between the truth and being negative. Yeah, 100%. That's the impact. I've been in that situation. I've been the commenter saying like, I'm so tired of you being negative. But it's because when your mind's made up on something, you want to believe something so bad. It's like it's hard to hear the alternative because your mind's arguing with it. So I get it. I do get it.
Don't like hear the truth anymore.
Thanks for another great show. I appreciate you, Nick. Let's get that win. Yes, let's get that win tomorrow. Shout out Will Compton.
Yeah, sure. I don't know why, but we're shouting him out.
W. Will Compton for whatever reason. James wants to eat the W. All right. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate everybody dropping your comments. Sorry for the late start today. We will be back here tomorrow for the post game as soon as the game goes final. So y'all be ready to drop by and hopefully talk some trash to us. So bring your A games tomorrow. Hopefully Nebraska will, and hopefully we can come out of this and sneak out a dub and get a win against a ranked team. What a way to turn this season around that would be. To like turn the talk around this season around.
It would remind me of that clip in Dumb and Dumber where he's like, how do you do something so stupid and then totally redeem yourself?
It's like when it's like when the Texans had Davis Mills at quarterback and they won like 2 games all season, right? And all they had to do was not beat the Colts the last week of the season. Not only did they beat them, it was a 4th and 25 with like no time in the game, and they throw a Hail Mary-ish pass to the end zone. and we score a touchdown and win the game and don't get the first pick. I've never been more mad about winning a game in my life. That's what this would be like. But the opposite, complete opposite. So it got a CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. So whatever. Happy New Year, guys. Appreciate y'all. Take care, J&B. Have a happy New Year. Happy New Year, y'all. And we will see y'all tomorrow in the post game. So that being said, see y'all then.